I do need a bigger table. Scoot, how you doing? Appreciate you guys jumping in here. Trying real hard to get my watch hours over that magic number they got. I'm so close to it. Can you guys hear me okay? Audio coming through? So I'm set up for it now, right? And I'm not going to take your money until I actually have something to offer. All I have to do is turn it on. I mean, sitting here chatting with me is free, right? Why would I charge you for that? And I'm not even sure I want to charge anybody for anything. Anything. I mean, eventually I hope to make something off this, but it's all going to go right to my kids for shooting. So the membership, I really don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I could cover or bring you along when we go shooting, how we set up for matches, working with my daughter. This is going to be a real interesting spring for her. She shot handgun some, but she's going to start competing with it this year. So it's gonna be really interesting. Well, I can get it set up. You can always buy a super thanks too, off the video or off of one of the shorts. That's really all I hope for. Go to my shorts and just leave a comment and stuff. The shorts right now for YouTube and everybody I talk to, I mean, they're just not getting any play. Anything firearm related, man, they're just standing right on top of it. It really sucks. Really, really sucks. But I mean, do the shorts just to try and get my content out there, keep that channel out there, and hopefully develop people's interest to want to come and check something out. But yeah, here's I don't know, probably next weekend if the weather's decent. I was hoping this weekend we'll get the daughter out and start doing some drills with her. I'm really curious how she's going to handle that shadow systems. Orange Smoke, I think I left you a message this morning, didn't I? But brother, it's time to pop a video. Yeah, man. John, I do appreciate you. I think I missed you the other day, but I dig your channel. You got some pretty cool shit on there. So right now, part of why I left at 1:30 instead of staying until 2:30 today, but it's 55 degrees outside. I didn't look at the weather for tomorrow, but I know Saturday is supposed to rain all day, and it's like mid-30s, and then Sunday's supposed to be just below 30s and snowing. But soon enough, man, we'll be out there. Family always comes first. And Orange Smoke, I mean, don't take offense to it. I do that to everybody I interact with. When I go through YouTube, the first thing I do when I open up YouTube is obviously I check my comments, right? I don't care what they're doing for views or whatever, but I just look for comments to be able to respond. And then I start right on my subscribers, people I subscribe to, and I go down the list. And sometimes people are posting stuff, sometimes they aren't. If you aren't posting something, I'll leave you a comment just to let you know I'm still alive. I mean, I want to show people support. I want to create that community. I mean, my plan, right? A lot of you guys are real solid. You're not far away. I mean, you're only a state away. I bet you're not 6 hours from me. I mean, it'd be cool just to get together. We got D-Dog and a bunch of these other guys. Patriot Arms isn't, I mean, everybody's within like 6 or 8 hours that I really do a lot of talking with. Up until last year, I always had a shoot for my mom over 4th of July week. It's kind of like a memorial thing. As one of the things after I moved out, and I had memberships to the clubs, and I went shooting all the time and stuff. I'm gonna touch right back on that with where I was going with this story, Orange Smoke. But a lot of times, especially in the winter months, I would go out to my mom's the farm. Right, we had a nice pit that was quarried out years ago, on the side of a hill. It's an incredible pit to go shooting in. Um, but for actual shooting, I went to the range. But she always loved it when we came out there and shot because it gave me an excuse to go out there. And there was a lot of times I'd go out there just to shoot, to play with something. Now, granted, I could go out late at night, anytime I wanted, 24/7, But she always liked that, and she passed away in July, that week of the 4th. And so I started doing, and it was cool if people came. It was cool if they didn't. I always went shooting. My family always went shooting, and it was just to let her know we were thinking about her. You know, um, I think, and I had people come up last year, some subscribers and people I talked to. Uh, our range politics changed this year. They they took away our rights to have anything full auto, um, and a lot of the other stuff that we'd take out and play with. So I don't think I'm gonna do it this year. But you know, I feel for you, man. I do. It sucks. It really sucks. Well, sounds more like she was your mom to me. You know, my heart goes out to you though, bro. Uh, it. I don't know. I'd love to say, and I'm sure you've lost people, right? When my dad passed away, he passed away, right? I lost a lot of friends over the years. I lost a lot of club brothers when I still rode in the club. Um, and that's part of the life cycle, right? It comes and goes. But I'll be honest, man. I think about my mom every day. You know, I just, I do. I'm gonna get all sappy and shit and emotional, but I would love somebody to look at me and say, "Hey, bro, it'll get better." But it I don't know. It doesn't. And I don't know how you fit in your family. I was always the youngest, or I shouldn't say always, but I was the youngest. I'm sorry for that. It sucks. But till the day she passed away, I'm a big guy and shit. She's always like, "This is my baby." That's how she'd introduce me to anybody. "This is my baby." I don't know, that sticks with you. Um, my mom, it's funny because we had a farm, right? I can't tell you the number of firearms that she straight up stole from me. You're talking everything like my Walther 22 to a Bond Arms, to an AR pistol, to an AK pistol. Uh, she took an AR from. I'd go out there, brand new gun, right? All excited. "Mom, check this out. I'm gonna go shoot it." And she'd come down by me. She's like, "Oh, I could use that out here." I'm like, "Well, you ain't getting it." She goes, "Well, you can buy another one." I mean, when she passed away, I bet you I had 15 guns out there, and it was all stuff that, with the exception of my Walther 22, it was all stuff that was the first time I shot. I went out there, and Mom's like, "Oh, I'm taking it." Whatever. She's right. I'll get another one, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, my heart goes out to you. Lively, I'm gonna answer your question, but do me a solid. Double tap that screen. I kind of shake people down when I go to give them an answer. I call it the troll toll. It kind of just helps reward the channel. But as far as a 450 Bushmaster, I honestly have no experience with one, so I would love to say you one way or another, but I'm not going to lie to anybody. I'll be open and honest with what I have experience in, and I'm not this guy who's just going to tell you what I've heard or what I think you want to hear. You'll hear more "I don't knows" or "I don't have experience" or opinions than probably anything else come out of my mouth. I know I'll jump on other people's lives and I'll be listening to them talk, and they'll be getting a lot of the same questions that I get. You know, hey, what's the best carry gun, or what do you think, like the 450 Bushmaster, or this or that, and they'll answer, and I'll be intrigued, so I'll start asking them questions, and I mean, you figure out real quick that they really don't know what they're trying to sell you on. So, what do I use? Um, with the exception of my 50 cal, my Barrett, pretty much everything I shoot's reloaded. I don't. I have some bricks of, or cases of factory ammo. I don't obviously reload for 7.62 by 39, but everything else I load for it. Depending on what I'm shooting, uh, is what I do with it. Yeah, I think the 450 Bushmaster, that's a straight wall case, right? Like the 500 SOCOM, or the 458 SOCOM, or the 350 Legend. I think that's the selling point to a lot of them, is it's a big heavy bullet and it's a straight wall case, so they can shoot it in states that they don't let you have rifle. I think they're great. Yeah, straight wall. It's supposed to be a great hog round too, right? Do you hunt deer with it, or? Yeah, let's get off the mom stuff. I mean, you could probably hear it in my voice. Noah, I did see you. Can you spare a CZ for a man in need? Man, if you have to check out some of the other lives. I just threw enough up here. I pulled some pistols out. I wanted to show the two rifles. The rifle on the left is I actually bought from my oldest. It's just a Remington 700 SPS, 308. And then the one on the right is my rifle, my 308. That's a Savage 10 FLP. So I was gonna set them up here, and I was gonna pull out one of my Colt AR9s. I'm like, I put a couple pistols up, eye candy, right? Kind of draw you in. And I threw a couple up. I'm like, well, let's make it an even 10 grand. So I threw the pistols up there, and I mean, it's not like I hand wash my underwear, so whatever it takes to get it done. I appreciate it. So I bought that Remington for my son. He picked it out. I think we went to Shields. It was the second or third year I took him deer hunting. I said, go pick out your rifle. And I had no limits. He could have got anything he wanted. And he walked around. I looked at some Tikas and some Hoyas, and a few other things. And he picked the Remington up. He goes, this has a threaded barrel so we can put a can on it. I'm like, man, that's heavy. It's a bull barrel. He goes, yeah, but it's going to shoot great groups, isn't it? And so, he sacrificed through deer hunting carrying a heavy rifle to be able to go sit down on the bench and shoot it, which, I mean, that right there is a proud dadgun moment of saying, I can kill something with this. We go hunting. That's just part of it. I want to be able to enjoy this rifle shooting it, and shoot some good groups with it. So that to me was cool. My oldest is 24. He just went back to school. He was EMT. He graduated tech to be an EMT, and then COVID happened, and I don't exactly know what happened. He's explained it to me, but if he were here, he could explain it. It just didn't work the way he wanted it to. So now he went back to school. He's in school right now to be a diesel mechanic. Growing up, he always wrenched on me. I'm not a big wrencher for other people, but I always work on my own bikes and all that. Labor is expensive, parts are expensive. I can do the work, I can do the labor. I'll do that. Not like my daily driver. I don't work on that. I take that into the shop. But he spent a lot of time with me wrenching on my drag car, my bikes, and all that. And then with my mom being alive, I mean, it's not like they were billionaire farmers, so there was always old equipment out there worth wrenching on. So he he got into the thing of he likes to wrench, which is great. Right? I I used my Savage for a few years for hunting, and it was okay, but just like you're saying, it's heavy. Uh, I bought a Savage, um, 110 and 300 short mag, and it's just a standard barrel. It's a wood stock. It's Duracoated like this is, but I got that for killing deer, and partly because it was significantly lighter. You know, it's one thing if you're just sitting, but you know, you spend the week out hunting, walking through marshes and woods and shit. It gets old. His first couple years of hunting, he used his AR-15, and I loaded him some 60 grain Nosler partition, which is actually, I mean, if you're gonna shoot whitetail, that's the bullet to use. Um, but he started, you know, he was he 13 or 14? I can't remember his first year, how old he was, but I think, you know, now a lot of them cartridges, like the guy was just asking about that 450, there's a lot of straight wall pistol cartridges that kind of fit that category for somebody with an AR, you know, relatively lightweight gun. There you go. Yeah, I bet I bet you feel it. I know my 300 short mag is a little, it does the job well on deer, but and maybe, I don't know, it does the job. It's a little more cartridge than I ever needed, but I haven't hunted now in a good handful of years. But you know, the 300 Ultra Mag, that's a stout round. You know, the 300 Short Mag too, which is what mine was. That thing's impressive. You know, it's not something you go shoot all the time. Is the 300 Short Mag's a barrel burner, but a few times a year. I'm gonna let my middle son try it this year. I was gonna last year, and I didn't want to be a dick. Uh, and we'll let him stand up with it, but he's gonna find out what recoil is about. 44 is a good choice. So is 10 millimeter. You know, they're both good choices for deer. I mean, I don't think anybody could take either one of them two off as being a good man stopper, bear stopper, or definitely deer, right? I need to get, I don't need, I want to get a 4570. I know my brother-in-law used to use a Marlin 4570 for deer up here in Wisconsin in that thick woods, and I mean, he swore by, he's like, man, the shit I can shoot through. So, someday. Too many guns, too little time, not enough money. I mean, I could go on. My son last night, it was funny, he pulled out our list. I was telling you about a list I have, I keep on the safe door. And yeah, 45, the Henry's badass. I need one. I absolutely need one. I want that, what is it? They got the Trapper and the Skinner Marlin, right? The Trapper is the shorter one, 16-inch barrel, I believe. And the Skinner is the 18-inch barrel. I want the Skinner. I think that's the 18-inch one. That's the one I would prefer. Just for that little bit extra velocity. But he pulled that list out. He's like, oh man, it's a while since we checked anything off of here. So he started checking stuff off, and he started writing stuff on. I'm like, what are you all adding? He goes, well, things I want. So the list never goes away, but it's cool. Look, I should show it sometime. And it's nothing impressive, but it's just a piece of loose leaf notebook paper, and you'll see, you know, periodically things are crossed out, and then, you know, maybe spaces in between. I don't work down a list. I just have things that I kind of want. So you got the tube fed one, right? Got the guide gun. I'm right though, right? The Marlin, they have the Trapper and the Skinner. I'm not sure what the guide one is. I'm not sure which one would be better either. Maybe you can tell me. I mean, is it better to have the side gate or the tubular magazine? I mean, offloading would be significantly easier with the tube mag. Trapper 16, yeah. I think the Skinner then is the longer one, the 18-inch. I don't have another device here, so I can't really open it up. Big Dirty Dan, appreciate it. Hey, since you like CZs, double tap that screen for me. But who? I think it might be Marlin. Doesn't somebody make too a dual where you can load it from the tube or a side gate? I wish I had my computer open. Short version. Okay. I'm sure you're reloading for it, right? I mean, I saw your channel. I would bet money that you're, yeah, Henry. I would bet money you're reloading. Oh, years ago when I loaded for my brother-in-law, I used H335. I don't remember the bullet weight, but I had a small Lee. I think it was Lee. No, Lyman. A small Lyman powder charger. And I had to double charge the cartridges to get enough powder in it. Even with it all the way open, maxed out. I don't remember. I shouldn't even bring it up, but I don't even remember the powder charge. But it was a lot. I mean, things that we took it out because I wanted to see how it shot, you know. And we took it out, he zeroed it, and we're shooting at 200 yards. And the cool thing about that, and you guys are gonna know this, I'm just regurgitating it, but you pull that trigger, you know, bang, then you hear, you know, but that flight time, I mean, it definitely wasn't a, you know, high speed moving projectile, but it hit the steel gong at 200 yards, and it was impressive. Like you walked up to it with a sledgehammer, man, and just whacked that shit, or hit it with a Mack truck. Hit that double tap that screen, and I'll tell you what they are. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Plan Gunner or whatever. So the one on the left is a Remington 700 SPS, and then the one on the right is a Savage 10 FLP. Oh, I bet it's almost overkill. Man, I wish I remembered what it was, but that was a long time ago. Long time ago. I still have his dies. He gave me the dies. He divorced my sister and moved back to Colorado, and he left all his dies. I mean, he bought them so I could load the ammo, but so I definitely have a reason to buy a 4570. That's a big slug. What are you getting for velocity? I haven't seen him in person yet, but I've seen people putting cans on them too. I admit, that looks pretty impressive to put a can on a 4570. They're both 308s. My daughter should be walking in the door here in about 3 minutes. I usually pick her up from school, but I left at 1:30, so I told her she could walk. It's nice out. She likes to walk when it's nice anyway because she walks with her friends. She's got a whole clan they walk home with. So I don't recall if I asked you, Orange Smoke, do you do any bullet casting? I think we've talked about it. I'm sure we've talked about it. Yeah. Daniel, I appreciate it. Do me a favor though, double tap that screen for me. Consider subscribing to the channel. Orange Smoke is right above you in the comments. Consider subscribing to him too. He's solid, dude. But either way, I appreciate you stopping in and leaving a comment. When you get into bullet casting, that's a whole nother hobby. So everything with shooting's a hobby, right? You get into the collecting, you get into the shooting of it, then you get into competition or whatever, then you get into like reloading, and then you get into the bullet. All of them are like a separate hobby all on their own. It's like doing golf and fishing and racing cars or something. I was fortunate. My How can I put it? My cousin's husband, so it would be a cousin-in-law, his uncle was a big competition shooter and a reloader and stuff, and he'd been doing it already for a lifetime. And that's who got me into reloading and competition shooting. He took me by the hand and held my hand for a very long time and walked me through everything with reloading. And I'd go over there, I'd bring pizzas for lunch, and I would sit there and crank out ammo, and when I thought I knew it all, he would show me something different. And then over time he got me into the bullet casting and stuff too. He kind of set me on course, and we're talking, oh boy, 27 years ago. But he enjoyed teaching me. He had one boy, and he wasn't really into it. He liked to shoot, but he really wasn't. Lipstein, how are you doing? They're both 308s. I think you've heard me talk about them, so I figured I'd pull them out today. But one on the left is just a Remington 700 SPS. The one on the right is my Savage 10 FLP. Nothing fancy. And we threw pistols on there for some eye candy. But like always, double tap the screen for me. No, well, let me say it like this. They've both been used for hunting. My Savage was a gun I bought. It wasn't necessarily for hunting, but I used it for years and years and years. The Remington 700 I bought for my oldest son, his third year of hunting, and he got a blank check to go get a gun. That's what he picked. When I asked him why he picked that over something else, it's because he wanted something you could shoot off a bench, and shoot groups, and shoot distance with. It's actually, it's a Remington 700, but it shoots. It's a good shooter. It shoots. Generally, it'll shoot half minute all day. I think we've touched under it a few times, but generally between 3/4 or half MOA, 3/4 MOA, it'll hold. The Savage, it holds half MOA or better all day long, and it's just a bone stock gun. But it's their 10 FLP. That was the gun they sold in the early 2000s to law enforcement for their precision work. When I bought that, they actually wanted a letter from law enforcement, your chief or whatever, saying it was going to that. It was just a promotion gun or a package gun that they sold. There's nothing fancy about it, but it's a great shooter. It's shot great for years. It could probably use a new barrel. I haven't checked the erosion in it in a long time, but it probably needs to be rebarreled, and I've thought about it. But I did the Duracoat, long time ago, and what do I put on there? A stainless barrel or a blued barrel? It's gonna look goofy, so I've left it. That's their Accu trigger, so that's an adjustable trigger. You can adjust the brake, the take up, and then the over travel in it. I know, now they have the Accu triggers. You can do the same stuff, but there's no Accu trigger there. How's school?
Terrible.
Terrible. Why?
2 reasons. An anxiety attack.
The one with the red optic. You've seen that one before. I usually have it turned over, but both the pistols on the top are CZ Checkmates. They're both open division race guns. The one with the red optic is my primary gun, and then the one underneath it, that's not even broke in yet, but that's my backup gun. I'm sorry, what, Harley?
Terrible. I had an anxiety attack, and our substitute today, so we were jamming out to some music because she let us, because we did all our stuff. So she was letting us sing to some music. So Miss Tiger came in because we did get a little out of hand and started yelling.
Flex mates.
And so Miss Tiger was like, so we were trying to solve a problem with what we could have done next time. And she said, I stopped the music 5 different times and told you to stop. She never stopped it once.
Well, you're a kid in school, deal with it. So I have 2 checkmates, right? And you heard me say one's for a backup gun. They're about $3,000 a piece, just a little under. When I bought them, I was gonna buy an Infinity, and a little bit more money, but I bought the 2 checkmates over even like the Masterpiece Arms or some of them, the Bull Armories. I bought them because I got 2 of them. If you count on a primary anything, if you have 1, you have none. If you have 2, you have 1. That mentality. So, you work. They're 9mm. The 2 on top, the checkmates, are 9mm major. I'm not sure if you know what 9mm major is. But you spend all this time getting psyched up to go to a match. If it's a big match, you got some serious money that is costing you. Just between match fees, hotels, fuel, food, all these things. And, maybe you're driving across the state or across the country or flying. What's going on, man? How are you doing today? Same reason when I used to shoot Glock, I had 2, because if something's gonna fail, it's not at a Saturday weekend match when you got $20 for a match fee and that's it. It always happens at the worst times. So I bought them so I could have 2. I would love to have 2 Infinities or 2, anything like that, right? But for me, it made more sense to have a backup gun. YCD Guns, I did see you. What's going on? Glad you're here. Like always, double tap that screen. Like always, check out Orange Smoke. We have John Flam Sr. here today. Hey, if you guys never checked out channel, Orange Smoke, have you ever checked out his channel? You should check out John's channel. He's an old school dude, man. Old school cowboy. He's got some really cool stuff. He's got some old school SKSs. He's got, I'm sure you probably remember it, but the old Tapco pre-band Tapco side folding stocks. He's got an SKS with that on there. Got some really slick single action guns. Yeah, I happened to stumble across his channel one day, and he's an old school cat, man. Kind of dude you could sit in person, you'd talk to him all day, just pick his brain. Kind of like my guy I was telling you about, Jim, who taught me how to reload, got me into the competition stuff and all that. You just sit and pick his brain, and that knowledge is going to be lost. Things that we're trying, he's already done. But yeah, really cool dude, man. There you go. Promote that. Promote that. They are, when I first started, let me go into that, how I got into reloading a little bit more. So I'd been into guns for a while. I was the typical young guy, you know what I mean? Having a big old high capacity semi-automatic rifle was fun. Load that shit up. Pronounce flam. I say that right? Flam? Flame? Flim? You have to tell me when I get it right. But I had stopped in a shop because I had already been collecting brass that sold reloading supplies, and I sat and talked to this guy for a while, and he talked me right out of even the idea of it, the concept, you know. And it says whatever. I had went hunting with my cousin's husband, right? So my cousin-in-law, Flame, and I was talking to him, and only reason I was hunting with him is because he had dropped his rifle out of a deer stand. He borrowed a rifle, and he said, "Yeah, can I borrow a rifle? I want to go hunting." Blah blah blah. I'm like, sure, man, no problem. And he's like, well, come with me. And so we were out there, and late afternoon, we were just sitting in a shack, staring out over a marsh. We're talking, and I was telling him the story how, you know, this cat talked me out of reloading and all that. And he goes, well, you know, my uncle does it. Yeah, very much. But he took the time and introduced me to Jim, who was a Vietnam vet. And like I said, man, he loved it because, you know, this guy had been doing this, I mean, his whole life, and his only kid didn't really have any interest in it, and nobody he knew really had an interest in it. And here's me, you know, I'm eating it alive. I'm learning a lot. And it, number one, it changed the philosophy for me shooting, right? It's fun to go do mag dumps. I don't care anybody out there that says it's not fun. It's still fun to just go spray a mag, right? But it's even more fun to do it accurately. You know, it's more fun to challenge yourself to be accurate, right? Um, I have to remember sometimes when my kids are with me, you know, they're dumping rounds. I'm like, ah, come on, man, be, you know, slow down and be accurate. But that's just as much fun. I mean, my daughter, that's one of her favorite things to do is just make dumps, which is great, but it gets expensive. But that's part of, I think, how probably most of us got into shooting. Gun guy, double tap that like screen for me. Um, but as far as a favorite caliber, see, that's like a generic question. I need more defined, like for what purpose, you know. Um, I mean, favorite all around caliber to shoot. I shoot a lot of 9mm. I really like for pistols. I really like 9mm major. Um, I don't know if you guys know what 9mm major is, John. I don't know if you know, but 9mm major, it's a round for open guns. So it's a very high pressure 9mm round. It's like plus P plus plus. It's I take a 115 grain bullet and I'm pushing it 1,500 feet, just over 1,500 feet a second. Um, for instance, like a normal 9mm, I don't know, you're putting a 115 maybe like 5 grains or something in of, is it accurate number 7 or HS6, and in 9mm major I put 9.9 grains of HS6 in a 9mm cartridge. And the purpose of it, you use a slow powder so you get a lot of gas. Well, you see the two guns on the top, they have big monster comps on them, and it makes that gun work. It pushes the gun back down. And with the way the divisions work and stuff, the major scoring, it's why it's major. It's scored um, in your favor a little bit. You don't have to be quite as accurate. So the one on the right's 308. Both rifles are 308. But when like a lot of this stuff started with the competition shooting, um, these are old school dudes that 1911 was king. Um, Masad Ayub, is it Bill Wilson? I think that's his first name. Yeah, it's Bill Wilson. And a dozen other guys when they started that type of speed shooting in the 70s and the 80s. Everything was 1911, and then these guys started coming out with the Wonder Nines. Um, double tap that screen, and I'll actually go into that one a little bit. That'd be interesting. Same components, yes. You usually want to use. A lot of people either use a small rifle primer or a small pistol magnum primer, just so you don't get primer deformation or deforming or popping primers. And you got to use good brass. If you're using range brass, it's once time fired and then that stuff's garbage. I don't even risk it with range brass. I use one time Starline, so it's expensive, $170 for um, 1,000 pieces of brass, but very high pressure. All right, Orange Smoke. So, Killmonger, are you still here? Because I'll answer that if you're still here. If you are, let me know. Just give me a thumbs up or something. And so I actually want to answer that. It's a good question. That's an easy one to answer. I appreciate it. I don't know what the pressure is for the 9mm Major. There's not really any published data out there. So it's a Wildcat cartridge, right? Um, they do it's called power factor, and they take that by the velocity of your bullet and the weight of your bullet, and you times it together, and then you divide it, and you get a power factor. So you kind of do a lot of research. You use the slowest powder you can with the highest volume you can. I use HS6. I think it's Accurate number 7's the other one I use. There's what is it called? Shooter's World makes 9mm, or not 9mm. They make major pistol ammo or powder. Sorry, Vitavori N, was it N320? I think. I'm just quoting that from memory. I don't have anything in front of me to actually give you more precise information, but um, it's stout. You wouldn't want to shoot it in a polymer gun. Um, it wouldn't go good. Um, but it's a way to play the game. The open gun division or the open division is just all bets are off. This is the pro Drake Street division. I know when I first started loading for it, man, my balls would sink up to my throat because, I'm running these rounds and I'm watching the velocity on the chronograph. 1,300, okay, that's not bad. 1,400, 1,450, 14. I'm almost there, and I'm running like 1510 for velocity on a 115. You got to use a good component too. Obviously, you're not using berries. It's kind of, I tried it, and they tell you not to go over 1250. Well, what you find downrange on target is around your impact, it looks like somebody sprayed glitter on it because the bullet's actually coming apart. But it's interesting. I've never done any like ballistics gel or anything like that. I do see that. That's why I mentioned to Orange Smoke your single actions. 22s are fun. My kids really like revolvers. They both have. I shouldn't say kids. My two youngest kids, my middle son, my daughter. I bought them both Ruger Wranglers. They love them. That's great shooting for them. Being they have to manually load and eject each round, it takes them a while to burn through. 100 rounds of ammunition. But I don't have very many revolvers at all. I got some old school 22 ones that I inherited, and then I have um, a single 6 convertible, uh, and then I have just my GP 100. I got a 38 Smith & Wesson Bodyguard, a little J frame, and then I have a Taurus. I don't even remember, 626 or something I think is the number, but it's just a little snubby 7-shot. I like revolvers, I don't know. I always seem to end up buying something else. I don't ever like I was saying with my list, I don't plan, hey, I'm gonna buy this gun here, but I do have an idea of what I'm gonna buy. My next 2 guns are already sitting there. I'm paying on them, and it's just I don't know. I talk myself into buying things like if I get this pistol, the Shadow 2, I can shoot it in this division, this division, this division. Gerald, how are you doing? Gerald, sorry, I think I said that wrong. Gerald, double tap that screen for me, if you would. But I talk myself into a lot of different pistols that way, and a lot of different rifles. Always trying something, and experimenting. Maybe I probably spend money to try to justify money I already spent. Like if I buy this, I can see if what I actually bought last time was better or worse. If Turkish guns are interesting. Baba, double tap that screen for me. Some of them are really good, and some of them not so much. Uh, I mean, Turkey. I don't want to say they're becoming like a front runner, but they have a very large small arms manufacturing capacity, and I mean, they make some really cheap crap. We all see that with some of their shotguns and stuff, but some of the stuff they're nailing it. Their price of raw materials and more importantly, their labor is low, so they're able to produce decent firearms for a lot less money than other countries. I'm not even gonna say America, but like even the Czech Republic with CZ. I mean, they can blow them out of the water just because of labor. Yeah, yeah, I agree with it. Gerald, three made for the most. So what do you say you're practicing with 3, maybe 4? What are you practicing with them? Or are you referring to me? No, you. So what kind of guns you got? And like you're saying too, John, I enjoy firearms. I enjoy shooting. I enjoy seeing what I can do with them. I enjoy the load development, right? I really like load development. Um, it's fun, right? The science behind it, you know, no matter if it's a rifle round or pistol round, playing with powders, playing with case overall length, playing with bullet weight, bullet manufacturer. Um, I mean, it gets into a whole nother level. My guy Jim, he told me, man, he said there's really only 2 types of shooters out there in the world. There's 2. He said you got. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. He said there's 2 types of reloaders. He said you got the guys who shoot so that they can go reload. They enjoy the hobby of reloading. And you have the other guys who reload because they want to shoot a lot. Um, I agree with that. You get the guys who primarily buy factory ammunition, and they're buying good ammo, they're shooting competitions, they're this and that, but they don't truly have the in-depth understanding of how something works. I mean, and that's great. Some people don't want to. They want to go buy ammo. They want to go shoot. They want to shoot good groups. Good enough for me. But there you go. So you're getting a Nighthawk pistol? Is that what am I reading that right? Which Glock do you carry? I carry a Gen 5 Glock 26. That's my daily carry pistol. Oh, you already have it? I would assume the single stack Nighthawk, which I'm gonna ask like I know every model, but I don't. Which model Nighthawk do you have? And I assume 45 ACP single stack, but I know they do make some double stacks. A lot of people really like 19s. That's one pistol I tried really enjoying them, and it's actually one I don't own. They're they behave a little bit too much like a subcompact. So if you're gonna carry a subcompact, you expect subcompact things. I like the 17 size. I like the 34. Double tap that screen, and you got to specify which one, because I'm not sure which gun you're asking about. But the 19 for me personally, and it's just me, I always thought it was a little too big for concealed carry. I'm left-handed though, so like when I get in and out of cars, my left hip will impact the pillar frames. So that's why I carry the 26. That's probably the only reason I never got real sold on carrying a 19. The rifle on the left side is a Remington 700 SPS, and then the rifle on the right side is a Savage 10 FLP. Both are 308. There you go. You ever do any of the barrel conversions with Glocks? Like I bought my oldest a Gen 2 Glock 22, the 40 cal, and I did a 9mm conversion for him. And and I haven't fitted it yet, but he bought a 357 SIG barrel for it too. Okay, what kind of competitions you shooting? So it's either going to be one of three. It's going to be USPSA, IDPA, or PCSL. You did the caliber conversion on the Glock 19 to 40? Is that what I'm understanding? I know that you can convert the 40 cal to 9s or 357 SIG or 10mm down too. Nope, 40 cal. Yeah, I was just gonna say, because the 40 diameters of the 40 cal barrels for 40 cal is too large for 9mm slides. Yeah, they used to have them conversions. I forget the name of them, but it was the slide, the barrel, the spring, and a couple magazines that you would convert your Glocks to 22. I'd wanted one of them for years, but they were always like hit or miss if people had good luck on them or good things to say. I bought when the Glock 44, the 22 caliber Glock first came out. I bought one. I think it was only on the shelf a couple of weeks, and I bought one. And that gun has mixed reviews from, you know, online sources. But what I can say about that is the guns worked like a champ. I'll bet you there's probably 10, 15,000 rounds through it, other than wiping off the feed lip and mopping the bore. I don't even scrub the bore on. I just mop out the chamber with some Hoppe's 9 and a patch. That gun has yet to malfunction. That's why I really haven't cleaned it, because I want to see how long it goes. My daughter shoots that a lot. She likes that gun. That's why I don't know if you heard her earlier, but she's going to start shooting pistol competition with us this year, shooting USPSA. Because of how much she liked that Glock 44, which is a Glock 19 size. It's a Glock 19 size frame and slide. My requirements for my daughter, 11 years old, I needed something that felt like a Glock 19 frame size and stuff for her. Felt similar, but going from the 22 to a 9, I wanted a comp. And so I ended up buying her a Shadow Systems MR920P. That'll be her gun this year. And that fits all the categories. Glock 19 size, comes with a factory comp. And then the bonus on it all is it's got a nice framework to it, nice texture and a nice grip angle and stuff. We've more than broke it in, and the guns ran good. I've had a couple light strikes on primers, but it's the primers I was using, not the gun. None of my Glocks would have ran them. And they were foreign primers. We get them from somewhere in South America. I don't recall. I'd have to look. Pat Snucka, what's going on? How are you doing? Good to see you. King, I do see your comment, but I'm not even sure what to say. Midwest Perspective, how are you doing? It's good to see you too. So you saw Midwest. I've been on your channel. You just going into work, or you getting close to finished? They could market. And I know at one point they actually did, but they could market Hoppe's number 9 as a perfume. The thing with Hoppe's number 9, I'm sure you know this, I'm regurgitating stuff, is they actually have a patent on the smell. I haven't tried the Alien. I don't know anybody that has one. I've not seen one in any store. So I like the concept of it. Working now. Yeah, I saw their old post, but like I told you when we were talking, I will absolutely support anybody that supports me. I do a few live streams. I'm really trying to get I'm almost at full monetization. So a way to do that is just keep pushing these lives. That's the easiest way to get them hours. So the Remington, no, that's it's a Hogue stock. It's a Hogue over molded stock. That's the way it came. The Savage on the right, yeah, that's one I did in my shop years ago. You can see the gun's been used. But yeah, I did that in my shop. Well, quit deleting them. Quit deleting them. Yeah, Midwest, I think you're probably cut from the same cloth as a lot of us. Hands down, the most rounds I have through any of my firearms, hands down, by like probably 15 times, would be a Glock 17, Gen 3 Glock 17. I traveled the country with it shooting, and I shot that platform for decades. Wore out multiple barrels in it. The gun itself, it never had a mechanical break in it, never shared any frame rails, extractors, nothing. I refinished it a couple of times, and I keep changing barrels. I don't shoot it much anymore. It's kind of retired. I think I shot it once last year at a match, just cause my middle son said I couldn't shoot Glocks anymore, so I went out and we shot it. Well, don't give up, man. So get some stuff posted on your channel, and when you're in here, you know, let us know your channel's up, and I'm sure a bunch of people will jump in. I'll jump on it, you know, and just like I tell everybody, you know, you've heard me talk Ammo Alchemist. I don't know if I even acknowledge you. Well, sir. Good to see you. How's your fertilizer project going? But you know, you get to meet a lot of these people, man, and it's kind of cool. They all interact, you know. The getting enough people or enough views, I mean, it gets discouraging. It gets hard. Gerald, are you asking me if I hunt, or are you asking the other guys? The answer for me is I don't hunt anymore. I haven't hunted in a few years now. I used to. I did all the stuff. There you go. I mean, see, everybody in here, man, they're all solid people. I'm glad to have the time to spend with you. You know, and I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not trying to tell you I'm the greatest thing. I'm just sitting here rambling, dude. I got a gun, some guns on a table, and it's kind of getting to meet you guys. I mean, it's cool. You know, checking out your channels. You kind of tell who somebody is, and by what they post. You know, John. I mean, he's old school cat. You know, no doubt about that. Um, Midwest, exactly like your name. I mean, you're you're a good old boy from the Midwest. And you can see it. You can see it in the way you talk in your lives, and all that. Gerald, I don't know if I've ever been to your channel, but if you go, this is the only way I can find you. Right when I end the live stream, all these messages go away, and I don't have a way to go back and retrieve them. If you want, or if you're willing, go into my channel, pick a short, leave a comment, tell me you were in the live, and I will absolutely be on your channel. As the other guys on here can contest, I will come to your channel. Um, I, I mean, I'm a poor schmuck too. I sit around bored, and when I sit around bored, I go through my list. You know, all the people that show me support, I show them support. You know, um, I think that's what it's supposed to be, right? Watson, double tap that like screen. Hey Harley. Yeah, I know where you're at, John. You know, the censorship is crazy. I was talking with.
Did you call me?
Yeah, turn your phone on.
Okay.
I was talking with D-Dog Tactical yesterday, actually, and I think, well, it's because we're on good terms, brother. It's good to see you. How are you doing? Um, but I was talking with D-Dog, and we are talking about the censorship, and Ammo and I have had this conversation too. Yeah, man. We're in Wisconsin. I mean, Wisconsin weather. But I think YouTube, and maybe you guys have different things. Maybe it's just the way the algorithm feeds me. Is I see a lot of negative behavior with firearms. A lot of young hoodlums doing stupid shit, acting irresponsibly. That's the stuff that I see that gets pushed. It looks like the more reckless and disregard somebody has, the more YouTube pushes it. Now I have a theory on that. My theory goes like this: they're using censorship, but they don't want to have a narrative that, hey, look at these guys being solid people. Hey, they're having fun with firearms. They're enjoying shooting sports. They're enjoying it with their families. They're showing good examples. They don't want to. They don't want to show that. They don't want to have somebody who maybe doesn't have their mind made up about firearms saying, "Oh, look, these guys are being hay with it. They're not out there causing harm or ill will." I think that they use that other narrative. And again, this is my theory. Maybe I'm just crazy. But to me, I think they use that narrative to help push an agenda of anti-gun. If you show a couple guys out there doing things right, it kind of makes it hard to convince somebody that these are so horrible and they shouldn't be allowed, and the only people that have them are thugs and criminals, right? But when that's what you push and that's what you allow people to see, you start programming them and start kind of brainwashing them. You know, people can't fathom that, hey, you can have firearms and go out and shoot a competition, or hey, you can go out with your family. Hey, you can go do any of this stuff. Even some of the guns that people hate, like AR-15s, AK-47s, you know, any of that stuff. You know, they want to push people having a Glock, not shooting it responsibly, not doing cool stuff with it. They want to show them with a Glock switch and standing on the side of the road or shooting out of a car window. Or the best is in a backyard in the city or front yard in the city or an abandoned lot in the city. That's the stuff that comes through my stuff all the time. And dude, it makes me sick to my stomach. That's part of was the main goal of starting my channel, was to show. And I do the shorts, right? But I try to push my shorts with my kids shooting or me shooting. And I mean, you get, oh, you guys are fuds. No, we're not fuds, man. We're just responsible firearms. I mean, we're out there doing something with it. We're doing all the things that these other guys are doing. We have high capacity guns. We're running around. We're shooting a bunch of rounds. We're engaging multiple targets, you know, but we're doing it responsibly. And even more than an adult doing it responsibly, we have kids doing it, you know. That's what I wanted. That's my personal goal of what I want to push, or the agenda I want to push, or the narrative I want to push is, you know, firearms aren't all bad. I appreciate it. Yeah, Big Mag taped in airsoft. But, you know, I think a lot of people, yeah, everybody's willing to give up a right that they don't personally use, you know, and they'll tell you about it. Hey, man, you shouldn't own firearms, and they'll rattle off all these reasons. It's like, all right, you know, you don't respect that right, but I just sat and listened to all this bullshit come out your mouth. Just sat and heard you regurgitate every falsehood you could, and you know, to me, your right to speak isn't important. All right, Crunch, I appreciate it, bro. You have a good one. Matt, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that, or somebody asked that. So let me tell you this, all right? I hope you're going to be here for more than a split second, because this is the answer. If you're going to carry it for concealed carry or something like that, then an SPO1 would be the better option. If you're going to use it for home defense, not concealed carry, if you're going to use it for home defense, competition shooting, or a general range toy, a Shadow 2 is a better option. So CZ, they have the philosophy of good, better, best. So on the table here, you have the Shadow 2, you have the Tactical Sport Orange 2. We'll skip the DWX and we'll go to the race guns. That's good, better, best. A Shadow 2 is it's an entry-level competition gun. An SPO1, they have competition versions, but it's not a straight up was designed for competition, right? The Shadow 2 is a competition-based design, and a lot of people really love them. Sticks, how are you doing? I'm glad to see you. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, man. The algorithms are weird. When I look at the majority of my stuff, especially like some of the shorts, it's always real young people. Like the more just you get into certain guns that the gamer kids like, and that draws their attention. I have had one video with my Thompson. I have an auto Ordnance Thompson, and man, that fire just took off. And that video is the only one I have where everything was 65 and older. And I forget the number of views, but we're talking hundreds of thousands of views. And it was just Thompson, but it was the old guys, the mature gentlemen that can appreciate a classic firearm. See, you're younger than me though, bro. I mean, I got not quite 10 years on you, but close. I think sticks, you probably seen these. I didn't throw any new pistols up there. Them are the two rifles. Jaylee, I appreciate you stopping by, and I'm sure it's about to get interesting. I mean, you're on the shitter. That's like #1 spot somebody's gonna look at YouTube, right? I spend time there. Everybody does. I mean, not like you have anything more pressing to do. I struggle with gamer kids. Like, they'll just randomly start talking trash, and the young gamer kids turn into them early 20s gamer kids. And I had a discussion with a guy earlier. I went on a guy who's subscribed to me, and he posted a video, and he's got some cheap firearms, right? He's got a Taurus, and he's got a AR-9 pistol setup, and he's been following me for a long time. I've been following him. I checked it out, acknowledged it, and then he had one comment in there, and this dude's just ripping the guy apart for his firearms, who carry gun. But he's just ripping them apart, and then he's talking trash. Man, if you ever showed up and got in a fight with them, you'd be dead and all this shit. I'm like, kind of irritated me, but whatever. It's not my channel. But let's click on this guy's channel. Let's see who this guy is. And I'm gonna guess he's probably 22, 23 years old, and he's rocking a Glock 19X. Okay. Being the asshole I am, right? I got a sign. I can be an asshole. I went on there. I'm like, oh, Glock 19X. I said, let me guess. You wanted to say me too when people asked what kind of gun you had. And he's like, what the fuck does that mean? I'm like, Glock 19X, kind of a bargain basement budget level firearm. And he got offended. He starts talking, I can outshoot you. I can this. You probably ain't even got. I'm like, go check the channel. And then he deleted all the comments and blocked me. The whole point of that, it was show people respect, man. You never know who else you're talking to. Somebody's always going to have something more. Somebody's always going to have something better. Somebody's always going to have more experience. You know what I mean? So you got this young guy trying to flex on somebody's guys because he's got a Taurus. Well, right now he's got a Taurus. 5 years from now, dude may have an Infinity or a Barrett or something else. I mean, everybody starts somewhere, right? Everybody starts with their first one, I mean, I look at some of these guys' channels and dude, it's impressive, but they didn't get all these guns in the last 6 months. They've been working on it for a long time. And to get into firearms and to enjoy what you can afford, there's no shame in that. Now, there's shame when you have that Taurus and you're rocking it like you're running, the holy grail of firearms. I mean, that I think is funny. Absolutely, they will, But, maybe it wasn't even my place to say anything to the guy, but I don't know. He just, I don't know. It was out of order, Yeah, I do. I like the Hellion though. Who was it? Damn it. I was just looking at their site. It's an aluminum oversized bolt release. When my middle son comes home, I'll pull it up. Then they had some a different safety. And now too, that Black Talon Tactical, they're supposed to be, well, they're working with Springfield #1 to introduce a rifle with their trigger upgrades, but they're supposed to be tooling up to start doing trigger upgrades to the Hellion. You're talking, I mean, it's not great, but a 4.5 pound trigger with like a 5mm or 3mm reset, so it turns it almost into a single stage trigger with a 4.5 pound trigger. That's livable. That's the only thing I don't like about my Hellion is the trigger. It's a cool gun otherwise. I try to be positive with people, but I'll tell you, man, you know, and that's why I disclose it. I can be an asshole, you know. Someone wants to talk shit, I'll engage, you know. Uh, Maybe sometimes it goes too far, but just show people respect, you know. Nobody, like you're saying, Sticks, nobody would come up to me or come up to you, you know, at the gun range and be like, man, that's trash. Look at your poor ass. No, because they get a fucking dotted eye, you know. Talk shit to me in person, you're going to be spitting blood, right? So I just treat others as you want to be treated, you know. Rather than banging on somebody, just be like, man, you know, do you shoot? If you got a bunch of crap, do you go out and shoot it? You're out shooting it? Right on. Then it's not a bunch of crap. You're using it, right? Now, you're some gamer kid that's sitting at home flexing with your Glock 19X because everybody else on the inner tube has one. Well, why'd you buy it? I don't know, because I wanted to say, me too. Me too. We used to make fun of people with street glides for that. Patriot, how are you doing? Incoming. What's big today, Patriot? I did see your video with your trick shot. I'm not sure if I'm going to respond to that or not, because one part of me says, "Oh, it's cool. It's really, really cool." And the other part of me says, I don't know if that's the right thing to be showing people. But hats off, it was a good shot. I mean, I'm not going to lie about that. So being you're here and I can say that, I mean, kind of in person, kind of gets me out of typing that, because I didn't want to come across like, hey, don't do that, because we've all done it. But absolutely, I agree with you, Sticks. It may be a meme, but it was, I mean, like I said, it was a good shot. Teddy, how are you doing? I wish I could see your picture a little bit better. So they're both 308s. The rifle on the left is my it's actually my oldest son's. It's a Remington 700 SPS. I bought it for him. It's in my safe. And then the rifle on the right is actually mine. It's a Savage 10 FLP. But that's, you know, that's the thing too, John, and you guys, is you get on these lives or you start interacting with these other channels, and I mean, we're all kind of the same, you know. I think a lot of us probably feel the same too. You know, it makes you sick that your rights are being trampled, and you know, it almost seems like there's times, maybe you guys don't, but there's times where a person could almost second guess themselves, like, am I really that odd, or am I the odd duck out that I enjoy collecting firearms, I enjoy shooting, I enjoy doing all this stuff? Is it really that weird? You know? But that's that narrative that, you know, these guys want to spin. They want to convince people that I did see that that wasn't a hillbilly accent, Patriot. That was the old what do I want to call it? German dialogue accent. That definitely wasn't hillbilly though. Honestly, Reconics, double tap that screen for me. 308's a great rifle, but what I had went to was a 300 short mag. I'll tell you why, right? So I used the same bullet in my 308 as I did in my 300 short mag. It was 165 grain Hornady Interbond. I forget the powder charge. In my 308, on impact, the bullet would actually, even on the Interbond, it would start to fragment, and I would get a monster exit hole. It would destabilize. On the 300 short mag, I mean, I would liquefy it, internals, the lungs and the heart and all that. It'd be jello. But a lot of times I'd recover the bullet on the far side, still inside the hide. So the 308 would destabilize, and not transfer all its energy and would just tear shit apart. And the 300 short mag with more velocity would open up perfectly, and it would dump all of its energy. Desmond, double tap that screen for me. The 2 long guns. Come on, double tap it. It's free. I am watching. There you go. The rifle on the left is a Remington 700 SPS. The rifle on the right is a Savage 10 FLP. They're both heavy bull barrels. The one on the right is a 22-inch barrel. The one on the left, I believe, is an 18-inch barrel. It was funny, and I was listening to it on break. I had my earbuds in, and I actually listened to it again when I got off of work. To hear, to see if I was hearing what I thought I was hearing, and I said I was formulating a reply to how I wanted to reply to your video. But again, it was a good shot. 2, definitely wasn't hillbilly, but it was that Germanic. That's what I heard out of it. The German accent from the old German language, right? And I know you know what I'm talking about. So no problem, Desmond. I appreciate it. John, I didn't see that yet. I had your channel open a little bit this morning, and you had the 2 single actions on there. Double tap that screen for me, and then I'll answer that question. See, Patriot, this is the troll toll. I'll answer any questions you guys have, but you gotta buy that with a like. Double tap that screen. There you go, Sticks. I appreciate it, man. That'll go right to the kiddos. Pay the troll toll. I'm telling you, I may have to get a sign. We all may have to get a sign that says that. I'll answer any question you got, but you gotta double tap that screen, man. So what I do for a living, I test medium and heavy tactical wheeled vehicles for the Department of Defense. So in short, they pay me to go out and beat the dog piss out of shit all day long, and they're paying me to have it break for me instead of somebody else. When I break something, which happens every day, I fuck something up. I go back. Hopefully, I can drive it back. Sometimes it's gotta get towed. I type it up on a computer, and I'm on to the next one. It's a job, right? Just like you're sitting behind that steering wheel all the time, you know. Some stuff's more fun than others. When it's warm out and nice out, it's awesome because you're outside. And some of the stuff we don't have windows. It's all armored glass, so you can't put a window down and get fresh air. But it's cool to be out. I mean, I'm off property a lot. I'm just out. My boss needs me. They send me a message. That could be, John, that could be a good thing and a bad thing. Just like with the trucks, right? There's been times where I've been going down the interstate in them and truck locked up, boom, catastrophic failure. You gotta up armored 30,000-pound vehicle doing 70 miles an hour on an interstate, and now you're sliding sideways and hoping you're not killing people. So it's not, there's times you look at it and you're like, man, this is the coolest job on earth. I mean, everybody, this is like a little boy's dream. I get to drive military equipment all day, every day. And then there's some other times where, I mean, you're never relaxed. You're using all your senses, from the vibration in your toes to, you're hearing eyesight, smell, sounds, and when things go wrong, it goes right now. There's there's not a lot of warning. And there's times, you're on the test track, it's great, okay, boom, I'm shut down. But then there's other times when we're on the road with them, and I mean, things fail. It just does. Patriot, so I put that video on that other channel, the HIMARS. Did you hear the song in it? That's the Otis Redding sitting on a dock by the bay. And you got them 4 digits. When you're ready, let me know and I'll tell you the other ones. Unless you got them. If you got them, cool. And it's not like it's a job either that I got hired doing this job. I mean, I've been at my place for 20 years and, I worked my way up. Yeah. John Midwest, he's a driver too. So, I mean, at the end of the day, that's all we're doing is we're behind the steering wheel. That's okay. Yeah, some of them, depending on what you're in, right? Like the Hemmets or the PLHSs, that's it's like a cab in front of the axle type vehicle, or the FMTVs or FMTV A2s. You're in front of the axles, so, and there's no airbags. They're not. It's just bent steel, man. But like in the JLTVs, it's an armored capsule. You're not gonna know you hit something. I mean, we've had them roll over, and they have a 5-point harness, so you're strapped in, but it's not gonna hurt. But some of them, I mean, like I said, if you're in an accident, it's tragic. It's horrible. Yeah, that's up to you. Wait until the live is over, though. I mean, you asked one time how to do that. That's why I made sure you had that. I'm not saying we have to be text buddies, but I mean, feel free, right? Everybody's on their phones. I think 7 out of 10 is probably conservative. I'm guilty of it too. Some of the stuff too, and it's not even for us, but it's for one of our allied countries. They have stuff called Trail Tracker. And what it is it's like almost like driver assist. It doesn't affect your wheels, but it beeps. It makes you stay censored. It's like, how can I put it? Like the game Operation, where if you go and you touch the sides, it'll beep, 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 beep. That's what they do. I think more cars should have that. Oh, it is, dude. They're heavy. That. All right, man. I appreciate it. Streets are done. Double tap that like screen for me, bro. I appreciate it. If you don't want to, that's cool. But I don't know, how much do you weigh? I mean, you might as well ask me which way it's hanging and, you know, what I'm working with too. But if you want to know, I mean, I'm working with like 3 inches hard. And that's enough. I'm not sure what you mean, John. Sticks, right? Hey, you guys know, let me ask you something. Here's a life question. Now I'm gonna give you guys a second to respond before I tell you the answer. Do you know the most flattering thing a woman would ever say to a man is? Learn how to read, Mark. It's not a Trump sign. Nice cock. Thank you for protecting me. John, come on. Waiting for your answer. Most flattering thing any woman will ever say to a man. All right. So maybe John's typing slow. All right. You guys got to hear me. Most flattering thing a woman will ever say to a man is, 51 years married. I had 28 years now. Richard, you have to text in English. I have no idea what you're saying. On all 3, hell yeah. We all know they're lying. But hey, man, I don't care. It makes me feel good. Makes me feel good. I appreciate it. I'm not sure how to say your name there. You can, absolutely. Feel free. Well, I grew up on a farm. We didn't bury anybody. And other than that, we'd leave them lay. Dogs within a few days would take care of that. You can even say that to a woman. And there isn't a woman or a man out there that won't laugh over that, because we all know. The women know it's true. The men know it's true. True story. But take down the Trump sign. The fuck? That's somebody that voted for Kamala Harris and Biden. They probably voted for Hillary Clinton too. take down the Trump sign. I'll bet you they probably either live in California or New York too. I should go back and tell the person, hey, why don't you grow some balls? It's okay. All the women are doing that now. Patriot, have you ever checked out Midwest's Perspectives channel? You get a chance sometime, check out his channel. Vice versa too, right? Midwest Patriot, he's a gun tuber too. He's right in your neck of the woods. Yeah. I guess, I don't know. I don't think anybody's celebrating any Democrat. I have no idea. No idea. Well, post a video, man. You know? You don't have to, right? Not trying to turn everybody into a content creator, but I mean, no other reason. I care. I'll watch, right? It's nice. It's nice to be able to vent sometimes. I don't even want to say to have somebody validate what you feel, but just know that there's other people that feel the same way. It seems like, you know, and you hear it in life, you know, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, you know, they do, you know, and they have a way of, I don't know, maybe trying to make people change rational thinking, you know. Deer Hunter, I appreciate it. Double tap that screen. Consider subscribing to the channel. There's a bunch of other really great channels that are in here. Consider subscribing to theirs too. If you have content, go in my shorts. Leave me a comment saying you were here in the live. I will be on your channel and I will subscribe. And I'll show support. You show me support, I'll show you support. I don't know, man. You know? I can tell you this, though. I'm more subdued and trying to be more politically correct on the internet, aka YouTube, than I am in real life. I mean, I'm old school, you know. If I can't fuck it, race it, or shoot it, I'm not real interested in it. The only real motor that sounds good is a V8. If it's not a V-twin, I really don't have an interest in it. I know what you meant, John. I think a lot of times with content that if you're able to solicit a response from people, what do I want to use? An emotional response to something where they can have strong feelings, either like, hey, this clown or this guy, they want to talk shit to you, or like, hey man, I'm really feeling what you're doing. That's where the subscribers come from. It's always like one form or another. And I don't want to say it, but it's like a drama thing, right? Dylan, do me a solid and double tap that screen and I will answer your question. Not a sponsor. How are you doing? You must be home. Driving home. Right on. All right, Dylan. So why is the bolt on the left side of the gun? Because I'm left-handed. I'm a southpaw. So for you, it may be on the wrong side, but for me being left-handed, it's on the right side. That was actually the very first left-handed firearm I ever got. Yeah, you don't see a lot of left-handed guns. I own a few, right? I have 2 rifles that are left-handed, bolt action guns, and then I have two AR-15s that are left-handed. No, that's all right, man. So a lot of stuff, like I think about later, what my kids are going to do with it. Like I'd really love to buy a new shotgun, new Benelli and left-handed, but my kids are going to end up with it. All my kids are right-handed, so it doesn't make sense to buy things that I know later on they're going to end up with, and they're not going to be able to use. Now, my Springfield Hellion I bought, that I can convert either side. So it was worth buying that. Every once in a while, my kids will shoot like my AR, and it fucks them up, you know. But I try to or tell them, you know, hey, that's how I feel when I shoot right-handed guns. It's just weird, you know, have brass come flying across your face and stuff. It's doable. You get used to it, but it's nice when it doesn't happen. I didn't know you were left. Oh, you are left-handed. I've talked about that. What am I saying? I didn't know you were left-handed. Yeah, I do know you're left-handed. You know, funny thing is like bench rush shooters, the guys who are really shooting like precision rifle and stuff. You know, they got a 30-pound rifle sitting there. A lot of them will shoot like a right-hander will shoot a left-handed action, and it's because of how they're loading it. Which Benelli do you have? Yeah, I like the Hellion. I mean, you're gonna say the same thing. The only thing that sucks about the gun is the trigger. It's cool having a rifle that you can convert left or right side. The M4 H20. There's a lot of cool bullpup rifles out there. I've always stayed away from them because either it's expensive to do a conversion. You can buy left-handed and then buy the conversion kit and convert it right-handed, or you can buy the right-hand version then do the left-hand conversion. But they're always expensive. You know, the Hellion, I mean, they nailed it there. Cost you no money to switch side to side. I bet. I definitely wanna get an M4 Benelli. Sleepless game and double tap that screen. So I wouldn't say Geisley or Daniel Defense are both high end. They're definitely mid tier. I think the Geisley's probably, and I own a Daniel Defense. I think the Geisley's probably a better gun. The BCMs are similar price range. That's probably a better gun than Daniel Defense, or at least comparable. But I don't think you're necessarily saying like the tier of it, but you're giving like a price category. So that 15 to like $2,500 price range. I would pick the Geisley. I think they're a better gun. So you're probably left eye dominant. Would be my guess. When you shoot a pistol, you probably even though you're holding it right-handed, you probably push it over a little bit to your left eye, or you turn your head just right. See, I would have thought having 3 kids, and my wife is left-handed also. I would have thought that one of our 3 kids would be left-handed, right? I mean, I know it's like genetics. It's not even training. You can train people out of it, but it's genetics. So, Sleepless, in that price range, are you factoring in your optics too? Or are you just saying just the core cost for the rifle? As if you're not. So the thing with rifles is the rule of thumb I was always told is you pretty much want to spend about what you did on the firearm as you do your optic. I don't necessarily agree with that, but whatever you get for a rifle, the optic's going to make it or break it. You buy a $2,000 rifle and you buy a $200 optic, you're going to have a piece of shit. Depending on what you want, aim point, EOTech, or you get into magnified optics, you're going to spend, I would say, between $500 and $1,200 for a red dot or magnified optic. And then the other thing is, if it's your first rifle, kind of being honest what you're going to do with it. If you're buying something because you want to just get going and get out there and learn the gun and shoot the living shit out of it, do a bunch of mag dumps and stuff, you may be better off even, brace yourself, you may be even better off with a cheaper firearm to really beat the shit out of. But the Geisley's a good buy. That's right in that price range. So on my Hellion, I have Aim Point Patrol. There's a Comp M4 with, what is it, 6 MOA dot or 4 MOA dot with a magnifier. I keep thinking about putting my EOTech on it, and I keep thinking about just putting a 1 to 8 or 1 to 6 or something on it, but I haven't decided. So I have an aim point on it right now with a magnifier. It works for me. I took the base off the magnifier and I turned it around, so when I flip it off to the side, it flips to the left side of the firearm versus to the right side. I will, absolutely. The Hellion actually has really good iron sights. I have never fired the rifle with it, but obviously when I saw it in the store, that was the very first thing I did. I picked it up, I flipped up the sights, and they're actually decent. They're decent sights. I would say for the hollow sights, EOTech. I mean, EOTechs eat batteries alive though. They chew batteries up. The thing with an EOTech is there's a lot going on in the reticle, and they're phenomenally fast short distances. CQB 100 yards in. When you start, for me personally, when you start getting out to like 200 yards, you have to turn the brightness way down to be able to get a good sight picture on a target to be able to be effective. Obviously, with a magnifier, it makes it a little easier. Something like an aim point with just the single dot makes it a lot easier to be accurate at further distances versus the EOTech. My opinion, though. Yeah. So even with like the EOTech, you could save some money. Richard, I do see you. I will absolutely answer that in a second. Do me a favor though while you wait. Double tap that screen. You can even save some money on your EOTech. Get the EOTech, and you can buy like a Vortex magnifier or something for it. And you know, $150 for the magnifier versus $600. I can. So with the CZ colors, when you get into like the shadows, people like to say the shadow blue or the shadow red, or some of the SPO1s have red grips and whatnot. None of the color grips mean anything until you get to guns with the orange grips. The orange grips are CZ's flagship item. They are hand fit, hand built guns, and that represents the best CZ has to offer. But like the red grips, that's just marketing. The gun above the orange here is a Dan Wesson, a DWX, and they have red grips. It's owned by CZ, but like all the red grips you see on CZs, the blue grips, you even see some with like purple. It's marketing. They have their high-end race guns that, you know, I have the Checkmates on top of the table. They have a Parrot. A Parrot, it looks like a gay pride flag. They got different color grips on each side. They got a purple optic mount. They got, I think, a green magwell and stuff. That's just a custom CZ product. So I hope that answers. You ever shoot a... I'm not familiar with that, no. So it's funny you bring up that tack swap. D-Dog Tactical was just telling me about that the other day. I've never been on it yet. But for that price range you're in it, I mean, you're gonna get a good AR. So the orange one is a CZ Tactical Sport Orange 2. It has a manual safety. It's on both sides from the factory. It's a competition gun. It's not something you're gonna, I mean, you could carry it. Comes with the magwell, comes with the magazine release, comes with the gas pedal. It comes with 3 magazines, 3 recoil springs, 3 hammer springs, and some other miscellaneous parts. They're about $2,200. Yeah. Sounds a lot like when he was telling me about it, how Gunbroker used to be. Yeah, it was 10 millimeter. So the funny thing is the orange, the CZ Tactical Sport Orange 2 with the orange grips, and then the gun right above it with the red grips was the exact same money. The Dan Wesson is a tack driver. It's a phenomenal shooting gun. If somebody were going to get into competition shooting, I would tell them buy the TSO2 all day long. It's a better gun. You're getting more for the money. For actual shooting experience, the Dan Wesson's a little softer. Why? I don't know. I haven't dug into it. Checking recoil springs or nothing.
I didn't realize you were doing live.
My CZ package here? Is that CZ?
I didn't realize you were doing the live.
Yeah, I'm doing live. Say hi to everybody. Oh yeah, this. I think this is me.
Yeah, that's yours. That's it.
Hey, we got the right screws finally. God, and another sticker. Ooh, thank you, CZ. Here, set that up there. You can throw the package away. So, CZ buying Colt. I think CZ brought a lot to the table. I think Colt, they're trying to build something new on an old foundation. And if you want to build something new and better, you kind of got to get rid of the rot, right? I think there's a lot of things there that probably brought the company down. But CZ buying Colt, I think it's awesome. You know. You bet, Richard. Thanks for joining the chat. Double tap the screen. Consider subscribing. Everybody you're seeing in the comments are all really great people. Consider checking their channel out. Subscribing to them. Feel free to go into my shorts. Leave me a message. Let me know you were in the live, and I'll subscribe to your channel. We, you know. So when I got my Dan Wesson here, first time we went out shooting it, my son noticed that, because it's the optics ready version, that the optics plate came loose. So I brought it home and I tightened down the screws, right? I should have put Loctite on it. Most people are going to pull that off, and I'll explain that. I should have put Loctite on it. I didn't. I figured just tighten it up. I snugged them up real hard. And then we went out and we shot a little more. And then my son and I, my oldest son and I, we went out and shot it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now. We got the round count up 2,600 rounds. And man, the gun shoots. It's phenomenal. But I set the gun down on the bench. And he's like, "What's wrong with your gun?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" I looked, and the optics plate was just hanging there. So it was fine until I set the gun down. Screw fell out, and the other screw was loose. Okay, whatever. Most people. Do you hear me? It's okay. I need a screw. I'm not ready to put optics on. I'm not a big optic person on pistols. So I called CZ, and I, got transferred right away to the guy in the parts department. Super cool dude. And he's like, "No problem. I'll send you a screw, no charge." I'm like, "Send me a few." He goes, "Well," I said, "I'll pay for the screws. It is $1 for a screw, right?" I couldn't find it on their website, so I had to call and talk to them. And so they charged me, gave me a couple screws, and I got the package. And it was for attaching the optic plate to the slide, not for the iron sight plate to the slide. Different lengths, and then the head on it's different. So all right, cool. This sucks. I called the dude up. Started talking to him. It was like a week and a half, 2 weeks. And he goes, "Didn't I just talk to you?" And we're talking. He goes, "I did. I sent you them screws." I'm like, "Man, they're the wrong screws." And he's like, "God damn it." He goes, "Come on." And he sat there, I'm listening to him talk. He's pulling the schematics up and he's looking, and I'm explaining to him again. And he's, "I got you. This is the one." And he goes, "What do you want to do about the screws that I sent you that I charged you for? You want me just to reimburse you or whatever else?" I'm like, "Nah, man, don't even sweat that. It's just a couple bucks. I mean, shipping, but a couple bucks." I said, "Do me a solid though. Throw a couple extra screws in the bag." And because he wasn't going to charge me for these ones either. I said, "Throw a couple extra in the bag and throw in some stickers." And I started laughing. I said, "Man, why is it you spend thousands of dollars on CZs? And it's the only firearm manufacturer out there, the only firearm manufacturer out there I know that sells you a gun. Even Palmetto State Armory gives you a sticker, and they don't give you stickers." He goes, "Man, I know. He goes, I got you covered." And, a week went by and my package showed up and I got some really cool stickers from them. I got a little handwritten note saying, "Hey, sorry, blah, blah, blah." And I got the screws. They're the wrong screws. So I called them up, and this probably says a lot for CZ and their warranties, right? He recognized my voice. I started talking to him. He recognized my voice, and he knew my name. Now, okay, they must not be making shitty guns if their warranty guy knows you by sound or whatever. But I talked to him. He's like, "Man, it's got to be the right." I said, "It's not." He goes, "Just give me some time." He emailed me I don't know, 40 minutes later, said, look, they don't have them screws there. They had to get the manufacturer who makes them, and they would get them all. He said they don't even have them on their site. So he thought he was giving me the right ones. It said they were giving me the right ones, but it wasn't the right ones. And that was on Monday I talked to him. Today is what, Thursday? My package just showed up with the right screws. There's several in the bag and more stickers. So I mean, to me, I'm not upset at all. I'm not disappointed at all. They treated me good. The screw came loose. I probably should have put some Loctite on it. Maybe they should have had Loctite on, but you're buying an optics ready gun. They don't intend for anybody to keep that plate on there. I'm not justifying it one way or another, but you know, from the start, it wouldn't have cost me anything, but I wanted extras. If I lost one, I'm going to lose another one. I'll put it in my range bag and have it. You know, should I put an optic on there? I will, you know, just not today. So, short story is, my experience with them has been good. It would have been nice to have the right part the first time, but man, they made it right. You know, I even told the guy, you know, if this were a month from now, I'd be upset, right? And he goes, yeah, middle of shooting season. I said, exactly. So I'm not upset right now. It's not a big deal. I mean, I want to shoot the gun, whatever. But to do me right, to know me, I mean, for instance, here's the complete other side of the spectrum. I bought my kid a Palmetto State Armory dagger a few years ago. I got it for his birthday, right? I don't know if you heard him in the other room. We went out and shot it, and this gun is bulging brass to the point, like, I'm waiting for this brass to come apart. I've never seen a bulged brass like that. I proceeded to call, leave voicemails. I text or emailed them a dozen different times, left a dozen different voicemails for a dozen different people there. My wife emailed them. My kid even emailed them to talk to him about this barrel. Like, hey, this isn't right. This barrel is not right. They never responded to a single, not even the receipt. Hey, we got your message. Nothing. Completely silent. I wasn't asking for a new gun. I was just, hey, this is going on, and to see what's going on. I mean, I can tell you the barrel's out of spec, right? That's obvious. But that's their warranty, you know. You're buying a cheap gun that was only a few $100s. They don't give two shits because they're going to sell 10 more of them 5 minutes from now. You know, you're buying a more expensive gun. I mean, to have one guy working in their parts area says something, you know. I'm not sure how to say it. Urel, double tap that screen for me, and I'll gladly answer that question. Yeah. Pack baseball. Double tap that screen and I'll answer your question. That's the troll toll for the day. I'll answer you guys' questions, but you gotta throw a like on the live here. And the thing is right on. So depending on what I'm doing with it, I have a lot of guns I really enjoyed. If I'm shooting competition, I really like shooting the checkmates. If I am shooting rifles, I have one AR I built I really enjoy. And it's not even my custom one. It's just one I enjoy shooting. My favorite shotgun's my Benelli M1. See, that's the thing, you know. I don't think there's any excuses for that type of stuff. You know, any company is built on their word, their integrity, and when they're selling bullshit and they can't respond when barrels are coming loose, and you know that's stuff that shouldn't happen. I don't hunt anymore. I used to. I just don't. You know, I don't know if I get it to a point, right? Companies are making money off of products one of a few ways. One, they're using inferior products and cheap steel, cheap parts, whatever, or they're using cheap labor or just sheer volume of sales. Well, a lot of companies like Bear Creek Arsenal or Palmetto State Armory, it's a mix of it, you know. My favorite thing to hunt was ducks. I love duck hunting. That's a blast. Absolute funnest thing. Yeah, see? Absolute funnest thing um, was ducks. I would say followed by turkeys. Spring turkey hunting was always a lot of fun. It was challenging. And it was always good, you know, this time of year to be out in the woods, um, just sitting there soaking in the rays, you know. You know, they have a lot of products that I really, really want to like and check out. You know, I took a gamble at buying their dagger. They had just come out. Um, I didn't pay very much money for it. It was going to be a gift for my middle son here, Wisconsin, and I thought it was going to be a great way for him getting into something, have something that he could beat on until he got more comfortable with something else, and later in life he could put that in his glove box or he could put it in his toolbox or something. It wasn't an expensive gun, right? But my experience was bad, and I can handle the gun not being right. It happens, right? I mean, like I said, what I do for a living, it happens. I expect it, right? You can't win them all. But what I don't expect is a company just to absolutely ghost you. Um, that on so many levels says we don't care. We don't care about you. We don't care about your well-being or your family or any civilian that's around. We just want your money, you know. Well, every gun I have goes off in my hands. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. You mean like an accidental discharge? So I have never had anything accidentally discharge. Um, so I'm assuming you mean something like a SIG where there's SIG 320s where they're having them issues, or you know any. I've never had that experience with any fire.
I'm guessing that's their question, that, or if you've ever had something like blow up in your hands.
Well, go off in your hands.
Yeah.
You know, it sucks too because like the dagger at the price point they came in, had an interesting experience or interesting place, or could have. So that's kind of two questions. An accidental discharge or a negligent discharge. I have like on the range reloading, and before I was completely ready, I was feeling for the trigger, especially on my CZs. You know, pound and 3/4 trigger. I'm feeling for the trigger, and I set the round off. It was in a safe, controlled environment. It was at the backstop where I wouldn't have even been looking for the trigger, but technically that was an accidental discharge. Um, but I've never had, even like my 1911s and stuff that you carry locked and cocked, I've never had the hammer fall on their own. John, tell us about it. I'm curious. They get you, man. You know, I'll tell you this, right? Until you get into for CZ, until you step into like a Shadow 2, you don't really realize. When I first bought the Shadow 2, again, I'm not looking for the trigger until I'm ready to fire. Hands going for the trigger. I'm just starting to feel for it. Boom. Accidental discharge. Technically, I didn't. I mean, I was looking for the trigger, but I wasn't pulling it yet. But you know, using caution. When my son here, he 2 years ago, He was just gonna, because we were finishing up the season. He was shooting pistol caliber carbine that season, and I was trying to get him to start shooting the Tactical Sport Orange. He did a magazine change, and
My fingers slipped.
when he slammed that mag in, he hit the trigger, and it's a 2-pound trigger, and not only bumped it once, but he doubled it, and that freaked him out. He didn't want to shoot that gun for quite a while, and he actually went into the next season shooting a Glock 34, which for him was a good experience because, I mean, you got to think about a Glock trigger, right? He shot it for, I don't know, what, 3 months about?
I think something like that.
Shot it for about 3 months.
Until we said screw it because
And then-
I also got to.
And then he went back to the TSO, and he hasn't had an issue since. Did he learn something about keeping a good hard grip on a gun when he was seating a magazine? Yes. Was it an accidental/negligent discharge? Absolutely it was. Were we at a range in front of the backstop? Absolutely. I was working with him on pistol drills, so we were only, I don't know, 15 feet in front of the backstop. So unless he was damn near pointing straight up, anything he did was going to impact a berm, and that was conscious. You know, that wasn't an accident. I do the same thing with my daughter. It's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, and he did. You know, he didn't have, and he had been shooting that gun. It wasn't like that was the first time he ever picked it up, but up until that point, everything he did was pick it up, load it, charge it, and engage. Orange Smoke, good to see you back. But that was one of the first times, like, I guess you'd say under pressure or urgency, boom, 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 guns dry, reload, because I was trying to get him ready to start shooting pistol, you know? Yeah, about probably 15 more minutes and we'll shut her down. Yeah, that'll happen. You still have the Remington nylon? It's funny because nobody ever wanted them. Now they're actually collectible as shit. I had in my Colt AR-9 similar thing where I had a malfunction, and the bolt slammed home on a round that wasn't in battery, and it set the round off. And same thing, I have no idea where the projectile went. I'm kind of half thinking it probably, I don't know where it went. It didn't destroy the gun, but it blew the brass apart. I mean, it opened all the way right up on itself. But the bolt came home, the corner of the bolt hit the primer and let the round go. I'm not a Canic guy, so I'll start with that. I like CZs. I carry a Glock 26 for a EDC gun. And anything I say about the P320s isn't from first-hand experience. It's all regurgitated from everybody else. They have enough issues there that are well documented that it makes me not want to be involved in that product at all. I don't want nothing to do with it. There's a lot of people that swear up and down that the problem's fixed and it's been resolved, and there's a whole lot more documented facts of law enforcement agencies or other people that have had the gun serviced or warrantied through SIG, and they're still having issues. So the P10C is a good gun. Yeah. So I think part of the problem, and this is just from what I've figured out or what I'm taking out of it, and this comes from Classic Firearms. They did a video where they went and toured the SIG manufacturing plant, and they were talking with the guys who are assembling the 320s, the 365s, blah 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 blah. And what they used to do is they were doing like a sub assembly. They'd have a guy, and his whole job would be putting these sub assemblies together, and then they'd have another station, and they would do more work. I think a lot of what was going on is it was tolerance stacking. No sharpshooter. It's not. Hit that double tap on that screen. Orange Smoke is in the comments somewhere. He's got some CZ rifles. So welcome back again. But the thing that really bothers me about SIG, and they can say whatever, we know it's not. I mean, these guns are holstered in some situations, right? 1974. Well, 3 scoop. That's why they started doing the transfer bars though in them, right? Is that early one, that 74, that still had the like the Cold Stew, the actual hammer on it. I don't like the way they've handled it. I don't like the fact that they do a lot of blaming of other people, and I'm sure we've all seen videos. One happened here in my state of Wisconsin. They were detaining a subject in a police department in the lobby. Cop was bent over, and his gun discharged. That's not. He was handling the firearm. It didn't get dropped. It didn't get hit. The suspect didn't hit the holster. I mean, he legitimately bent over, and the firearm discharged. It was on film. You know, to blame it and say the agency did something wrong, they used the wrong hole. They can shut the fuck up. There's something going on there. You know, that's just kind of like with Palmetto State Armory, right? We want your money, but we don't really care what happens to you or your loved ones or civilians. And I don't know. How do you miss you and I both know that's bullshit. That's them playing the blame game. You know what I mean?
We were here.
What would we do? Let's look at it like this. What would we do if Glock did that? If Glock said these officers are misholstering their firearm and that's what's causing them to go off, or any other manufacturer, nobody. This isn't just, I mean, these are fitted holsters to the firearms. It's not like a cheap Uncle Mike's Kydex holster that's universal. These are fitted holsters to the gun. So the whole, they did something wrong. No, man, there's more to it. Just own it, you know? And they don't want to own it because there's been people seriously injured. There's been bystanders injured. I think there's situations where people have lost their lives. I mean, there's a cat in here too. He was just asking about CZ rifles. I told him look for you. It is, you know. So the thing too, and like I was telling you with my field, I understand government contracts. Number one, just like in Vietnam, they don't buy the best product out there. They're buying at a price point. And if nobody thinks that budget isn't a major factor, it's about 80% of the factor. You know what I mean?
You are.
But
Here.
they can have a recall or a retrofit. Now, there's probably, at least in my field, there's money factored into the contract for a retrofit. You know, people find things as they're being used and fielded. It happens, right? It happens. But to try and dismiss it and then to keep selling that stuff is a problem. So the funny thing is, and I always tell people, I won't ever buy a SIG because, and I'm not dyslexic, but if I were dyslexic and you spelt SIG backwards, what do you get? But I mean, I never had anything negative to say about SIG. I was never into like their 226s or anything, but I didn't dislike the company, you know, just the products they were selling, I didn't have an interest in, but I really don't want to get behind what they're doing now. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just owning it. Hey, we had issues going on in our process. We had, you know, whatever it was, We fixed it. We we isolated it, we contained it, and now we're retroactively fixing it. You know, that's it, man. You know, I mean, and it's one thing for you guys, right? It's I have the choice to buy a CZ. I have the choice to buy a SIG or a Beretta or whatever else I want. I have that choice. Our military, you know, our men and women that are serving our country, and not only law enforcement but in the military, they don't have that choice. They're being issued a weapon. Here's your vest. Here's your uniform. Here's your shield. Here's your gun. I would have a hard time. I'd have a hard time with that. Oh, fuck yeah, Stiffy Point all day.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he hasn't jumped in here. He's probably working.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't seen him yet.
I know he's been taking calls all day. I mean, he did say he's been getting busy.
Oh, yeah. Stiffy Point. I got to get him to do our bat and put that up. But
The stiffy bat.
The Stiffy bat. Last time we were talking to him, though, he said he's busy. They got some sales and promotions going on, which is a good problem to have. Yeah, I mean, I think they shoot good. I mean, like I said, I'm regurgitating my number one, my own feelings about what I've read, what I've heard, what I've has been, you know, been made aware of through videos, through, you know, magazine articles, through news, stuff like that. But I don't have a fight in it. I don't own a SIG. I have nor short-term plans to buy one. I mean, I've thought about it. I'd like to have it in the rotation, not even for something to shoot, just as a service pistol, right? I still have 2 kids that are at home. I'd like to have the U.S. service pistol in the safe. Same reason I bought my Beretta when I did, just for the service pistol of it. It's kind of cool, but I can't bring myself to spending my money. I just can't. But that's what I know. I guess I'll do a 3-minute warning here. 5 o'clock here. I'll end the live stream. Any of you guys that are jumping or just kind of looking through the window, I'd appreciate you double tapping the screen. All you guys that have hung out with me, I really appreciate your time. You filled the day for me. I enjoy talking with you guys. There's a million channels in here to recommend. I mean, everybody that's in here, Patriot Sticks, we got Orange Smoke, John Flame, and many more. All you guys are solid. If you don't want to consider subscribing to my channel, please check out their channels. You know, they're great people. Orange Smoke, I appreciate you hanging out. I'm sorry, I missed the golden age of firearms. I said John Flem, didn't I? I did. So, I think hello there will be my last acknowledgement. So I find it crazy how other countries don't own guns or have a misconception about how horrible something is. Where are our statistics? Hold on, we may postpone this.
I don't know if we ever wrote them down.
So we looked up the other night by the numbers. You are more likely to die of AIDS. Statistically speaking, you are more likely to die of AIDS, and you're more statistically likely to die from an automobile accident than you are from a firearm. And from a firearm does include suicide, murder, robbery, whatever else. You are more likely to die from AIDS in America than you are from a firearm. And that's fact. All right, John. With that, gentlemen, ladies, things, I appreciate your time. I'll catch you again. I'm probably going to do one tomorrow about the same time. I definitely have that Springfield Hellion up on the table. So with that, people, have a good night. I'll catch you another time. Be good.